Hey guys, this is Luis. So now that we know what roles and features are, I think it is time for us to install our very first role. The very first role we are going to install is the Active Directory Domain Services role. Now the reason why this is going to be our first role is this. As an administrator, you would want to have a centralized location where you can have information about all the resources on your network. And the very component that allows you to do this is a directory service, and Active Directory is a directory service. So we are going to click Add Roles and Features. Then we maintain it on the role-based or feature-based installation. Then we click Next. Then we select this server, which is our server. Then we click Next. Then we check the box here, Active Directory Domain Services. So we check this box. Now it brings up add features that are required. So what is new with the Server 2012 is this: whenever you add a role, automatically all the features that are required for that role to function are also selected, and all you have to do is click add features so that all those features will also be enabled to enhance the functionality of that particular role. So we are going to click add features. Previously, you have to manually go and check the features that you require for the roles that you are installing. Now, a description of Active Directory, it says Active Directory Domain Services stores information about objects on the network and makes this information available to users and network administrators. So this role is going to store information about objects on our network. Objects include computers, resources, users, and everything that we use on our network. And then you will also use domain controllers. Once you install Active Directory on a server, then that server becomes a domain controller. So when you have Active Directory installed on a server, that server becomes a domain controller. So ADDS uses Active Domain controllers to give network users access to permitted resources anywhere on the network through a single logon process. So by installing Active Directory, we are going to make the server a domain controller, and then that means that anyone who will log onto our system will need to be authenticated by this server that we are configuring. So we click Next. The features we require have already been selected, so we click Next. Now it gives us the same description is here. So it says that ADDS helps administrators securely manage this information and facilitate resource sharing and collaboration between users. ADDS is also required for directory-enabled applications such as Microsoft Exchange Server or other Windows Server technology such as group policy. So without Active Directory, you cannot use group policy, which allows you to specify security settings that will apply to users and computers. And then if you are going to use a system like Microsoft Exchange Server, then you're also required to have Active Directory Domain Services. Now it says things to note. Now to ensure that users can still log on to the network in the case of server outage, install a minimum of 2 domain controllers for a domain. So in a production environment, you should have at least 2 domain controllers so that if one system should go down, maybe due to scheduled maintenance or hardware failure, you can't be able to rely on the other domain controller. So users will not be logged out because they cannot be authenticated by the server that is faulty. Then this ADDS we are going to install also requires DNS. You know, some roles are dependent on some roles. One of such is Active Directory and then DNS. So if we have not yet installed Active Directory, therefore in the course of installing Active Directory, we will be required to install DNS also. Then it says installing Active Directory is also going to install the DFS namespace, DFS replication, and file replication services, which are also required by Active Directory services. So now that we have gone through the notes, we can click Next. And then it gives us a summary of everything that we have selected. And then we can decide to restart the destination server automatically if it is required. We are going to leave that unchecked, and then we are going to click install. So we are going to allow this to install, and then I'll see you in the next video where we will discuss what Active Directory is and some terms that we are supposed to be familiar with before we configure Active Directory. So we wait for the installation to complete. I'll see you in the next video.